Hello, and welcome to another episode of Perfect Pairings. My name is Gay, and I am here with none other than Terina of Love and Speckles.
I gotta be a nerd.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I guess before we start today, I will acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording, and that's the Noongar people, and pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Hello, and
hello.
welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm here in Perth again.
Yep. In my mum's garden.
Yes, and it is beautiful here. I know that lighting is a little bit
Yep.
dappled, but you'll just have to deal with that because it is beautiful outside, and we are not going to waste a day
No.
like this.
That's
Coming
perfect.
from Melbourne, we've had, in the last week, we've been having lots of hail.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, we've had a week of beautiful weather at least. And before that it was all hail and rain and no drying of yarn, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's like perfect.
well, if you don't know Terina yet, you should, because she is an incredible indie dyer. Sorry, I'm just setting up my iPad there because I've got all of my questions ready for Terina. Should we make a start?
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
So, number one, what is your background and how did you come about to dye yarn?
Okay. It's kind of a long and weird convoluted story. So I'll go to, I learnt to knit when I was a child. It was my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
My mother also knit, but I really have no recollection of her knitting. And it's like, I know she knit things for me, but I have not, so memory's weird.
That is funny.
Yeah, so I remember my gran teaching me. I don't remember anything of my mum, but she used to knit as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started, but then I sort of gave it up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
did things for a while, and then in the 80s started knitting again. We were saying earlier, crazy mohair neon jumpers that one
Yes.
did back in the 80s.
Well, don't you
So
wish you had them now?
I do.
Because they're back, right?
They're fabulous. So
Vintage.
I have to try and see if Mum has any pictures of it still, so you can pop them up and go,
Yeah,
hey, here's
I'd love
a picture. And then once again dropped it, you know, left it alone for ages. And the last time I picked it up is I moved house.
Mm-hmm.
And despite it being internet ready, it was not internet ready. So I had 5 months of no internet. And back then I used to game a lot. So I used to,
yes.
So so I had none of that. And the only thing I could do was watch the television because the aerial at least worked.
Yep.
And I'd be sitting there just going nuts, and I'd want to just eat all the snacks. And I thought, no, this isn't good. Let's pick up some knitting again and at least be doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking around. I discovered the website Ravelry, which of course everybody knows, but at the time I was just like, you know, mind blown.
I think everybody who, like, once you discover Ravelry, that is just like,
It
what?
was, yeah,
How did I not know this
a
existed?
box of goodies, like
Yeah.
endless goodies.
Yep.
And so I just sort of, you know, potted around the edges a little bit and found, I can't remember the name of the dyer. She was a dyer I found on Etsy. She had this beautiful colour. There was this beautiful white background with a whole lot of speckles on it. And to me, it reminded me of amazing nougat with like rose petals and pistachio.
Yes.
Like that's the, you know, and I couldn't resist. So I bought it, and then I had to, of course, try and find patterns. So I started knitting again. And then I found Mr. West Knits. And so Stephen West came up in my Instagram, and I was like, what's all this about? Like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking at that, and then he did his Speckle and Pop Mystery Knit Along.
That's a beautiful
And that is when I gatewayed into the entire world of hand-dyed yarn and these amazing designers, and that was it. I was hooked. So I bought it's one of my favorite dyes because these are the ones that got me hooked into it.
one. Yes.
Machete Shop, can't remember her first name at all. She had these beautiful aqua mermaid pieces in it, so I grabbed some of that for this mystery knit along. And then there was another dyer, Black Trillium Yarns, who's no longer around, and she had some beautiful pinks. I grabbed some of that, and I grabbed a few others from here and there, but I don't remember that. And I knit this piece, and it was wild and ridiculous and spectacular. And it was also when I learned to brioche, because I was too new to not realise that brioche was scary, and I just went for it. So that's my advice to you, like, just go for it.
I did the same thing.
Just go for it.
It was
Yeah.
shawlography. MCal was my
Yep.
first brioche.
Brioche, yeah.
And love it.
Yeah,
I love
that
it.
was
and
it.
Didn't look back.
Yeah, no, I love it. I don't do enough of it. I should. And I was thinking, because at the time I was working in a warehouse, and I was thinking, oh, can I afford to keep buying this fantastic yarn? How hard could it be to learn to dye?
Ooh, I love
So
the
that's the one-
resourcefulness, right?
Yeah. So I already had an arts degree. So
Okay.
that's a little backtrack.
Okay.
I went to art school after getting my teaching degree, because why not? That's the progression one does. And I had I loved it. It was brilliant. So I've got a Bachelor of Arts with honours, and then a Master's, and then I partly did my PhD, but crashed and burned at the end. But from there, I learnt making a thing is for me, like, that's my art. Like, it's not just a computer screen thing, which I've got, like, please, that's your way, go for it. But for me, it had to be a tangible thing. So back then I was doing I was making contemporary jewellery, so that was a lot of, so I'll have to
cool.
show you some pictures of that later on too. So there were a lot of recycled materials, found objects put into precious things. So that was so I already had this resourceful, like, I can do stuff. People would say, you can't put rusty metal with this. Why can't I? So same things, like, why can't I dye yarn? So
I wish I had known this, because I have a necklace made out of nails.
oh, fantastic.
And they're just all bent into like these S shapes.
yes.
And it's
Beautiful.
I would have worn it
I
today.
used found nail heads, some of them out of the old floorboards of the house I used to live in. Like, they were all falling out anyway. Like, it was a rotted veranda. I may have pulled a couple out of there, but we won't mention that too. So I used a few nail heads, set them as if they were gems as well too.
Cool.
But I was like, how can it be? Everything's on the internet now. I can learn how to dye some yarn.
Okay.
So one of my current favourite yarn dyers, Hugh Loco, which Nicole ran, she had tutorials on how to dye yarn on her website, because I used to look at that website and go, I love this yarn, can I afford it? Like, can I justify it? Like, my wage is really small. And I was like, well, she tells me how to do it. So I
Her
did.
colors are
They're amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
follow her on Instagram.
Yes,
I haven't
same.
purchased any of
No,
her yarn.
no, me
yet.
either.
We have a lot
Yeah.
of indie dyers in Australia.
Yeah, but her chicken series always makes me laugh. Like, her chicken inspired yarn, it's beautiful.
It is. Actually remember, now that you say that, I have a memory triggered in my head, so it
Yeah.
obviously made an impact
Yeah, it
on
was
me.
amazing. So, like, she always is putting out new and interesting stuff. Like, they're always amazing. But this. So that was where I went and dabbled, and of course, that was the end of 2017.
Okay.
And I can remember at the time I still had my jewellery business, but it was really hard going because everything was individually made. And if I make someone a beautiful engagement ring, like, if there's a tiny flaw on it, you have to get rid of it. Like, and for me, like, I can see there's a molecule of the silver, like, dented, so I've got to try and fix it. With yarn, if there's a little bit of an extra speckles fallen somewhere, brilliant. That's part of the joy of it. It's all individual, it's all unique, each batch is different, each skein is
charm.
different. Yeah, exactly. So what was sort of a flaw and something I had to struggle with one medium was now part of the joy of it. And like, magic happens in those dye pots and dye pans, and like, just
is.
go for it. Like,
I swear it is
Yeah.
magic.
I think
the
it is
more
too.
I talk to
Yeah.
indie dyers, I feel like they're
Yeah,
I don't know, there's like this Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't want to say
going on.
witchcraft, but it's witchcraft. You know? like sometimes I'm literally stirring a pot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But, yeah, her videos were, yeah, she's in her kitchen playing with it. So I was in my kitchen playing with it, obviously as carefully as possible because
Yes.
it's not food safe, you know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you'd have to make sure there wasn't a speck anywhere. But I remember coming Christmas to my parents with these little things of toast I'd done, going, I'm going to become an indie dyer. And my family was just like, oh, Terina, like, you've done your teaching degree, you had a teaching career that you just worked relief teaching at, you did this art thing now for, like, you know, the bachelor's, the honours, the masters, and then you've done that, and now you're going to start again. So I think they were a little bit like, what is she doing?
Oh, I don't know if it's starting again because you have those
I know
building
those
blocks,
exactly.
right?
That's why I
So
look
you're
at it.
starting from
I've
point
learnt
up
something.
here. Yes.
I've learnt something, and I've learnt some lessons, and yeah. So I think, yeah, but I think people looking outwards, not seeing that, just go, oh, she's lost her mind again. She's just gone. Yeah, she's just got colour mad now. Yeah, but yeah, now obviously they're like thrilled and more than happy for me to be donating them a knit object.
I bet.
So, but yeah, and that's where it all sort of started. And 2018, I opened up my little Etsy shop, thinking maybe someone will buy it. And then the first people who bought things, I was like, wow. Because back then I had like some little tiny trays, a little induction cooker, and they just, you know, played with these things, and people bought them, and it was so exciting.
That is another thing I've heard from people who like sell designs on Ravelry or like in an Etsy shop. It's like when you get that notification, like someone's bought
it's such
like,
a thrill. Like, yeah. And then if someone gives you feedback saying, I loved it, it's like, oh. Or even better too is like, give you feedback and they show you what they've knit with it.
Oh.
Like it's amazing.
And
absolutely amazing.
As a knitter, once I knit something, I also love to go back to where I got the yarn and be like, look what I made.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Like, message me on Etsy, throw me a link in Instagram, message me on Ravelry, let me know.
Yeah.
Terina knits.
Yes.
Let me know, show me, because I love it.
That actually reminds me, all of the things that we talk about today will be in the description below. You just, I think you tap the more button and then the more button again, and the links will all come
Down.
up. Yeah.
Nice, easy.
All right. Next question, because we are here outside and it is gorgeous still. We're in Perth, which I think is a place of unprecedented natural beauty.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Do you take inspiration
Yeah.
from that?
Yeah, well, from my mum's garden for a start, obviously. Like, it's not mad in bloom like it is in spring. Well, a bit later in spring. I mean, some of the roses come out, but there's so much texture, there's so much colour. Like, my mum's definitely an artist as well. Inside are a lot of her paintings. So there's definitely some, and I think this is kind of her physical painting. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, this is...
Yes.
So this is good. But then there's like these skies. Like, this is summer. Like, all summer it'll be these endless blue skies. And it's just huge and weird. And then in winter they get that amazing thunderstorm clouds that are just...
Yes.
It's great. I haven't done it for a while. I used to go windsurfing. So I used to go up to Lancelin and windsurf, and those drives up the coast.
It's beautiful.
Again, it's amazing. Like, it's
Actually makes
huge.
me want to drive up north.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm leaving in a couple of days, so it's
But,
not going to happen. But
the furthest I've got is the Pinnacles. So the
yeah. So the Pinnacles are these rock formations. Maybe I can find a stock photo.
Stock photo. Yes.
I actually have photos.
Oh,
from
nice.
When I have been to the Pinnacles. I'll have to dig them out.
That's the farthest up north I've been in. Geraldton. Is Geraldton further up?
It is.
I've been to Geraldton then.
Because I have not been to Geraldton.
Because I went there with my son many years ago on a school trip, so I got to be one of the sensible parents. Fools. Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, that's the furthest north I've been on the.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's amazing up there too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
huge.
The colors, the reds, the red dirt contrasting with the blue sky.
Yes.
It's indescribable.
Yeah, no, it's
really like you wouldn't see that anywhere else in the world.
I don't think
I
so.
don't-
Like it's just, and the beaches too, where they have that, where they have the red earth. Like I've never been to these ones.
Yeah.
Up north, where there's the red earth and there's the beach, and it becomes almost a soft pink, and then there's the
Yeah.
blue of the ocean, and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I've been about 200 k's north of Broome,
oh god, fantastic.
and that's
What you
it's-
were saying.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
on my to-do list. Yeah, one day.
I highly
One day.
recommend it, and I think they finally paved that road
Oh,
from
yeah.
Broome up to Cape Levesque.
Okay.
I think.
Now that name rings a bell because that's one of my colours I called for my Western Australian coastline kit that I did last year, and I'm now going, I should have brought that kit along with me. Like,
I
or
had
at least
no
a knit.
idea.
Yeah.
Right? So normally I do like tons of internet stalking, you know, right?
Okay,
Like,
yep.
And I had no idea, and here we are talking
yeah.
for 10 minutes about the coast of Western Australia, which everybody
Yeah.
should go to.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
I finally went to Rottnest last year before.
It's an island off the coast of Perth. Maybe an hour on the boat.
I think so, yeah. But as a West Australian, like I've lived here now for quite a while, to have not gone to Rottnest
Yeah.
was a deep, deep shame. Like everyone was like, "You're not West Australian," but I finally went, and that was fabulous too. So
It is
Yeah.
gorgeous. I got heat stroke the day that I went there, which wasn't amazing.
no,
But
no.
But it is absolutely beautiful, and the quokkas.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
The quokkas are amazing, but I also liked. We did the bus tour around because they've got those little transit buses you can pop on and off. The lizards sitting on the road. Did you see those? A great big
No.
lizard. They're huge. These great big lizards, and the guys driving the bus would stop or swerve slightly to make sure the lizards were out of the way. It was brilliant. So when we stopped at one stage, I did see one, and they were really dark black. You know, like a really glossy. Yeah, and they're sitting.
Ooh.
They were great. So I love the quokkas, but really weirdly, I liked the lizards. They were adorable.
My husband and I were hiking outside of Bunbury once, and which is south of Perth, about I don't know 2-3 hours south of Perth.
Where I was born.
Ah, I love
Isn't
Bunbury.
that funny?
Anyway, and there was one of those black lizards like across the walking trail.
Yep.
And we would have been in Australia for like I don't know a year or two, right? So we're still
So
and literally we I don't know walked like half a kilometer around this lizard.
that's adorable. But I would be the same. I'd be like, I don't want to disturb you, sir or ma'am. You know,
I don't know. We started with the idea that like any wildlife in Australia was
was
trying
poisonous,
to kill us. Yeah.
and attack mode. Yeah.
So that's my lizard.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's funny because when I went to England very briefly for a holiday, my friends were cleaning up their backyard and just picking things up, and me as an Australian was going, I couldn't possibly have picked anything up in the backyard like that because it could have been something that bit me.
Right? Gloves.
So it's interesting how we have these really deep, protocols of how to behave to keep ourselves safe.
But come to Australia because it's awesome.
It's fine. It's fine. Just don't stick your hands under things without looking. But, you know, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And as long as you make enough noise, the creatures know you're coming and they'll get out of your way,
That's
generally
true.
speaking.
We have
so.
learned that.
It's funny though, because like if I was in America and I saw a bear, I'd be terrified. You know what I mean? Like absolutely terrified. And yet Americans are like, it's a bear, just make some noise. You know?
Yeah, and I guess it depends on what kind of bear it is
Yes,
as well.
yes, because there's
so-
polar,
the
black and brown,
different
all
degrees of
different.
bear.
Yeah, polar bear, run, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh,
Um,
funny. Sorry.
I know, we've digressed.
Sidetracked.
That's all right. It's a good knit and chat, right?
Mm.
So how do you decide what colors
Oh,
to dye?
yeah, that's a really good question. So for my Advent kits, like I did three kits this year, new kits, and sometimes I have a really strong, like, that's definitely what I'm going to do. And other times it's really like, it's a weird vibe. So this year, I'm gonna pull out some knits because that's going to help describe what the heck's going on.
All right.
So
We love show and tell.
So this is the first one I did for this year. This is my flower market one. So I just had the idea of like really bountiful buckets of colour. You know, like you go to the market and there's just, you know, everything. So
yeah,
that
you've
was
got a bin of tomatoes, you've got bins of greens, you've got, yes.
Yeah, so but for me, I went, because I thought vegetables first, and then I went, no, flowers, it has to be flowers, because who wants to, no, obviously people would like to buy any colour that comes along, but I was like, who wants to buy vegetables? Let's go flowers, you know.
I do love a vegetable, but now I'll change my buckets. You've got a bucket of roses.
a bucket of
You've got a bucket of sunflowers.
A whole lot of poppies.
Peonies.
Yeah, daffodils. You know, so that was.
Oh, yes.
That's what happened with this. So I had that really strong idea, and I sat down with this one and really thought about how I wanted them to order. So these are all just knit one after the other. I didn't actually do any blending. So that's literally the kit just knit in order. So it's ended up being really, so started with a light yellow and then built it up and then went, I'm going to go into the pinks and oranges. And originally I thought I was going to go down to this sort of pinks. But when I did the pinks and yellows together, colour, as it works out for this, turns into a red. So I was like, I know, colour's amazing. So this pink here, this magenta pink and yellow makes this red colour. And it's still a peachy red, but it's a red. You know what I mean?
It's not beautiful.
It's not an orange as such.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I just sit down and rework how I was going to do my colours. But that had a really good plan to it. And my next one that I did, which I'm currently knitting now, my next one that I did, I was like, I want to, I'm actually going to pull out the kit though itself first. So it's not the full kit because I've used part of it. I had this idea of like whispers of colour. Like I wanted it to be like just a really soft. So, and I thought about it, and this is it, because I keep things in Ziploc bags when I'm working at home.
A lot of us
you know,
do.
it's not very, so it was all like these soft colours, and I call this one Summer Breeze because I like that idea of it being like just that wafting of colour and like those really beautiful cooler times in the evening, and then those warmer breezes, which is in some ways is like a bit weird because here in Perth it's not it's not a soft wafting of colour of a soft warm. It's usually a blast of like 30 plus.
Yeah.
And I live in a house with no air conditioning and I'm like, summer.
Dear.
So this was like my idealised, like this is how summer should be. So I'm actually currently knitting with that at the moment.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
So I've been playing with it with some mohair held together. So it's gone into, it's been less stripy than I was imagining originally. So this is my question to you, is like, should I continue working it with the mohair happening through? Because it's sort of dulled down some of these stripes.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah,
So I can
so-
see this colour now.
Yeah, that
it's
one
very
there.
subtle.
Yeah, it's incredibly subtle. So they were really subtle to start with. And now I'm sort of wondering, has the mohair bullied it a little bit too much? Or is it adorable? And so I don't think it's a question we can answer immediately. It's going to be one of those ones that, so here, this is actually a really bright, almost fluorescent yellow. Where is it hiding?
Oh,
It's
yes,
here.
this one.
And then with the soft green, it's pushed it back
seafoam.
down. Yeah. So I like it. But at the same time I'm going, have I gone too far with mohair? Yeah, I know.
It's funny, I'm going to look at the camera now because sometimes it's different on the camera.
Yeah. So I took some,
so subtle.
yeah. And to make, they're all 16 or 17 rows stripes. So it literally is,
And you actually get
you can see slightly,
slightly, but It's very subtle.
It's very subtle. So I'm not going, have I now just made it more of a colour block with a soft fade hiding in underneath? You know, so you know what I'm kind of thinking though? The solution obviously is to knit another one. So you have to.
Right? Samples.
Saying that's problem solved. I already have the solution. Just knit two. Yeah. So yeah, Amber's jolly jumper
I was just gonna say, let's
knit.
talk about the pattern now,
Okay.
because I am actually super excited for this. I saw it and I was thinking about it on the way here, and then
But I just
Terina started talking about it and I was like, no way. Let's
Yes. It's fun.
it's the Jolly Jumper by Amber O'Brien, who is, I think, Victorian based
Victoria. Yep.
designer, so we love her, Australian.
Yes.
I have actually plans to knit a few of her things.
Everything I pulled out of my bag today is her stuff.
Yes,
So.
yes. We get Terina and Amber, like a collab,
Yeah.
right? And this is currently in testing.
Yes, it's in testing. Just started testing.
Is it designed specifically for Advents?
Yeah. It could, though, as you can see, be knit in like just one colour or several colours.
It's a super interesting construction because it's side.
Yeah, it's
Sideways?
knitting. I'm knitting this way and that way.
Oh, from the center.
Yeah. So my back cast on wasn't the greatest because I'm learning this one. Like it's not one. So I've got some in it there. There's a little bit.
Oh, maybe are
More-
they twisted? Or
No, they're
the
just a little bit
size?
looser.
Yeah.
But you know, it'll come out in
the
the blocking. You know, I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, you cast on and then you start knitting this way, and then you start knitting that way, and then you do the same for the front, because that was the back. Oh, I'm all upside down. Then you do the same for the front, and then you join them up together and start knitting. Yeah. So her mind must have, like, I don't know what she did. She did some calculations. She did some.
There's like high degrees of math. In
Yeah,
this.
there
Like,
is.
it's-
Yeah, and then all the different sizes as well too.
That's I can
Yeah.
tell you from a tech editing standpoint that the sideways construction type of sweater is a lot more difficult to grade, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
sure I'll
I
get
just-
somebody
I just-
telling
I
me that
just-
it's easier, but that's okay.
I just knit them. I just knit them like crazy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, hats off to her to
Yeah.
get that
Yeah,
graded.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm knitting the cropped version because I've got a thing for cropped sweaters at the moment.
Yep.
So it'll obviously block down a bit more, and then there'll be the ribbing as well too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They're great with crop sweaters, great with dresses.
I'm mad for dresses. So
Mm-hmm.
my entire wardrobe when I'm out of the house is dresses with pockets.
And that's very Perth as well. I think that's just really
Well, it's hot.
versatile for
Yeah.
Perth.
It's hot in summer, so at least you get a bit of airflow going.
Yeah.
And then in winter, I just whack a sweater on top. And if I need to, I usually wear my little
The shorties.
shorties underneath, so
Gotta
I just
have
get a
'em.
little flash there. But which hopefully we'll edit that bit out.
No way. I love the shorties.
And if it's really cold, then I'll put on tights instead. You know.
Yep, exactly. So easy.
So yeah, I live and my flip flops as well.
I know, we're both wearing sandals too. It's just the weather today.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the sun and you're in the shade. We're a little
Oh,
bit.
it's moving around.
But,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not going
it's-
to worry about it so much. But, yeah, it's just glorious
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, it's perfect.
What else? Let's show us
Yes.
something else. What else do you
Okay,
have?
I'll show you the Baronia sweater, which probably by the time the podcast comes out, it will be out.
I'm loving
At
this.
the moment-
I feel like all our lace is really having a moment right now, and
Yeah.
this looks
It's gorgeous. Again, I did this one as a little cropped version.
DK weight.
Yes, DK weight.
It is. I think you can see it better where you are in the shade, but
It
can I
was
just
easy.
say as well? I was just gonna say it looks complicated, but was the lace
No.
What would you say to somebody who says like, oh, I've never knit a lace sweater. Could I make this?
I think pretty much everyone, as long as you sort of slow down, if you're like a beginner, slow down. If you need to, do a little swatch and have a little test. Or the other option is learn the lace in the flat, because this is in the round.
Oh, yeah.
She has the same lace pattern in the shawlette.
Yes.
So do a little shawlette if you would like to, just
That's
to
okay.
have a little test, and it will match. Or, you know, mine, and I'm kicking myself not bringing it, mine I actually dyed up some DK in this colour.
Yes.
And
It's this beautiful seafoam green colour. I love it. It
I
just feels very perfect to me too.
I got really inspired, so I did, I dyed this in the, and then this colour is actually the other mohair that goes with it.
Oh.
So it'll go together. But yeah, then you have a little pop. But that's the best way to learn it. There was,
You could actually use that as your swatch.
use it as a swatch.
Mm.
So there were knit two togethers, there were slip knits, there were the central double decrease, yarn overs.
Yep. So I think central double decrease is probably the hardest.
Yes. But if you look at it, take it slow. Once you've seen how it works and how it lines up, so that the little columns keep going,
Yep.
it's not too hard. It's like, take a little breath.
The other thing about this is that I feel like it is a very readable pattern.
Yeah.
So if, like you said, if you slow down and are able to look at your knitting kind of row by row, you'll be able to say,
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, hang on.
that's not quite right.
I use markers too.
Yes, for the
So,
repeats.
Yeah. So as soon as you see that you've got an extra stitch or one less stitch, you go, okay, I've messed up. Let's just go back that little tiny bit.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it starts from the bottom up, and this is meant to be a different type of ribbing, but I misread it. I was like, ribbing, of course it's 1-1. No. But it looks fine. So who cares? We just
Design
kept
feature.
going.
Design feature.
Yeah. So it's knit in the round up until here-ish.
Yep.
Yes.
The armholes.
And then it's knit flat.
Yep.
So, and then the back is knit flat, the front is knit flat in its little sections, and then that's when I realised I messed up. When I got to here, that's when I went, looked at the pattern again, and it said, go back to the ribbing on here, 3x1. And I was like, pardon? Whoops. Excuse me? And I was like, I'm not undoing an entire sweater.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is 1x1. That's perfectly fine. And when joining, I was meant to join this the other way around. I was meant to have the little ribbed feature of the 3-needle bind off sitting on the outside.
Yeah.
But again, I was like, well, it's too late now. It's done.
Yep. Yep.
So I just think,
Was this a test?
it was a test knit. And I'd sent Amber pictures too of my knitting too, right from the very beginning with the wrong ribbing. And neither of us had noticed until I went, oh, I messed up.
What is it? I think it was Stephen West actually that said if somebody is standing close enough to find your mistakes, then they're
They're
standing
too close.
close.
They're invading my personal
Right.
space. But even when I was taking detailed pictures for the test knitting, we didn't notice it. So I think, sometimes these things happen and you just go, well, that's easy. And I think too, it was meant to be twisted ribbing. And I don't like twisted ribbing.
Okay.
Like I think it looks beautiful.
It does look
I
beautiful.
hate doing it. It drives me crazy. So I just going to do it this way.
Okay.
So yeah, do it your own way. If you don't like doing it some way and it gives basically the same result,
Right.
that's my go-to.
And I feel like that's something that I've been learning more and more as I knit. That even if it's not exactly as the pattern,
Yeah.
if it's just a small mistake,
Yeah, feature.
feature, however you want to call it, it doesn't really impact the
No.
wearability of
No.
it. It doesn't, like
Like a
9 times out of 10, no one is going to notice. I mean,
Not even
Amber
the
didn't
designer.
notice the...
Sorry, Amber. Throw you under the bus.
And isn't it more important that you love it and that you wear it?
I wear
and that
it.
You've
I've
enjoyed
worn this
making
so
it.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, all winter I've been popping it on. It's been good.
That's a beautiful sweater.
The funny thing is too, I'm one of those people that forgets that I have, like I forget I have a nice warm sweater. So I'd be sitting on the couch and I'd be knitting. I'd be like, I'm really cold. And then I finally would go, Terina, you have a perfectly good sweater.
Right.
You've just completed, that's sitting next to your bed, like just fold it up. Go get it, put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That's a triumph. I love that.
I love it too. I'm really happy with it. So I still haven't photographed myself with it on. So I might have to ask you to see if you can take a fabulous shot, because me and cameras, it's a terror of mine. So I thought Mum's garden is a perfect place to wear it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. What else do I have? Do I have anything else? I think I might have. I don't know. I'm going to circle back.
Okay.
When you were talking about what makes me dye something. This is my latest advent kit, which I know is in a bundle, which we can put up a photo of it later on.
I love this.
And this again was another. You know how you have an idea in your head that's just mulling around, and you go, I've already got 2 advent kits. Like, it's always crazy work doing advent kits. But I really have this idea for an autumn colour one. And so I had to do it. And
I just look at these. I'll take some photographs of that.
Yeah, no
later,
problem.
if that's...
So that was, again, idea of that really stormy, because here in Perth, autumn's when you start to get the rain coming again, and it's such a relief. Like, I think autumn and winter are my favourite months, which is obviously heresy to say to a lot of people, but it's like I'm finding cool. Like, I live in no air conditioning, so finally having some relief is just, and then you get all the grass growing everywhere, because in summer everything's dead. Like, my mother's lawn will be fine because she has a reticulation she puts on from a bore, but all the verges, the council verges and that, and all the general, paddocks and that you might drive past, it's just dead.
Just so...
It's just dry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not from WA, you'll have multiple days in the mid to high 30s, so roughly 90s, 100 degrees for North American people.
This summer was, the one we just had, was much worse. Like my brain goes, it wasn't that high, but it was ridiculous temperatures.
Like multiple days in a row over 40?
Weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just relentless.
And that kind of heat is... I don't know, I've never experienced... Where would you experience it in the US? Maybe the...
Death Valley type area, maybe?
Yeah, like I was thinking like Arizona, New Mexico, kind of.
Yeah, I haven't been to that much of America. So I was in LA and San Diego very briefly, many years ago. But
it would be rather dry there. So
similar. I found San Diego fairly similar to Perth feeling in of the temperature. So but when it gets those hot days,
yeah, no, it is hot. So I can totally relate when you're like, the autumn comes and you start to get some relief from that. Yeah.
So it was kind of a celebration of that. So we don't really Perth doesn't get cold enough to get these really amazing colours. But I grew up in Sydney, and we did have these amazing, like the liquid ambers would get these really orange and wine colours. And we had a tree in the house we grew up in that was, I don't know what sort of tree it is. Like, if I knew what it was, I'd be like, it was one of those, I need one.
Yes.
But it was the most amazing green all summer long. And then when autumn came, still had some of the green on it, but would go from yellow to the deep, deep, deep purpley reds.
Oh,
and it was all over the tree. And I don't know if it was how much sun was on what area or what.
Maybe.
Who knows? But it was this most spectacular tree. So I think I put a bit of that into there as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So, and then of course some good old dead leaves. My last colour on it is
is it that one?
Yeah, number 24. Yeah. Some
love
dead leaves, but they've still got some of those beautiful colours happening in them.
They
like
do.
they just still
When you go like bushwalking.
Yeah.
they're on the ground.
On the ground, they're still...
They can still be gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's beautiful. So you've got an advent set, but you already know the colors, so there is
Yeah.
no risk.
Yeah. In, was it 2020? I think it was 2020. I did, I had been doing my advent kits as mystery kits.
Mm-hmm.
And 2020, of course, was a fun year for everybody.
Yeah.
But I found dyeing my advent kits, wrapping up all the skeins, because I had them as a mystery then, and then sending them out. I found it so stressful. I literally broke out in stress hives, like just all over. Like it was a nightmare. So antihistamines, all the body creams, all the soothing soaps, and I just went, you know what? Worrying about if people are going to like things based upon my very vague, like, oh, I'm thinking this year, you know, and here's some ideas, but then I got into the dye pots and something slightly different happened, you know, worrying about all that. I thought, make it easier, show people what you're doing and show them what they're getting. And then if they don't like it, there's no disappointment because they're not buying it, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And people that love it will love it.
And I reckon, who would not love that?
Yeah.
Well,
no,
maybe if you like neons. Like, I mean, like
yeah,
something completely
exactly.
But,
yeah. No, these are very much my sister's colours too. Like she'll wear that sort of colour. Like I'm more of a bright or a pastel type thing, where she's more of those colours. So I think I have to knit my sister something like that. Yeah.
Let's see. Do you have any more show and tell?
I think that is it for my show and tell.
Okay.
Except for that was my bonus skeins for it. So I had, yeah. So this is the bonus skein, which has every single colour that was in that kit is a speckle on there. So
that really just brings that
it just brings it all together. And then I had another lady who's like, no, I really want a grey. So I made Thunderstorm. So it's a bluey grey, really dark.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Is sometimes, and I think it has happened in Melbourne as well, when you look at the sky and you're like, is it blue sky or
is that a really dark? Yeah.
Is the sky just really like it's about to open up?
Yeah. No, it's one of my favourite things to see, that whole that really dark thunderous cloud. Like it's just one big colour of that. And then you have the trees in front of it and the light is shining on those and you've got that mad contrast with this bright green, and that is just, yeah, it's one of my favourite things to look at. Which
and that
sounds very specific, doesn't it?
No, but, like that's where we go back to like taking inspiration from nature and just everything that's around you and just taking a minute to have a breath and just
looking at it. Yeah.
Those are stunning. All right.
And that's it. Let's show and tell done. Not pulling out any more surprises.
So, do you have I'm not asking you to reveal your trade secrets, but do you have a particular method of how you go about your dyeing process that you can share?
It's changed a lot. It depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
So something like this, which is a solid, well, you know, semi-solid, there's still variations in it, needs to have a lot of water with it so that the fibres can get the dye circulating around it.
Yes.
So for
the
that,
dye can penetrate.
Yeah. Because if the yarns seem too close together, it acts as a resist, so it stops the dye from actually touching the surface, and you end up with a lot more variation, which can be cool if that's what you're going for. But if you're going for something that's fairly solidish, you need a lot of space. So sometimes something like that will be dyed in a pot, and I have to keep moving the darn thing around a whole lot. Although that particular batch, I used really, really big trays that are quite deep, and used a lot more extra water in that, let it sit in there for a while, and then moved it around again, and then put it in my oven. So, what year did I buy my oven? So, I started off on induction cookers. So you'd use your trays on that, or a pot.
Yeah.
But now I use a little oven, which Lola Bean Yarn Company. I remember seeing her I remember seeing her putting up a post, and then she had her dye studio with like multiples of these beautiful big ovens. And I thought, oh, you know, that could help me streamline things. So I was like, okay, let's try that. So I bought myself a little one, and mine's only got 10 tray spots in it. I think hers have all got like 20 or something ridiculous, which is fantastic for her. But she's obviously a much bigger dyer than me. You know, admiration. But yeah, so
aspiration.
yeah, absolutely. So when I got the oven, it's like, okay, I have to change how I dye things, because before it was on a tray with a heat source happening instantly.
Yes.
With the oven, I used the trays to set up everything, and then it would go into the oven, and then the heat would rise in there. So it's like, now the techniques have to change slightly, because, you know, the way that everything's happening is changed. So yeah, the how do I explain what I do now? Because again, if I need to, I will put things out in the induction cooker with a pot. But now I tend to set up. I'll go for one of these ones. These ones I didn't mind if they had spaces where they weren't so dyed, because I like the idea of the wind, the breeze, you know, strengthening and you know, easing off. So those ones, I put the dye into my tray. Then I had my minis that I'd already soaked, ready to go. I added a bit of extra water to make sure there was enough, and then I just popped them in and moved them about quite a bit to try and get it even, but without, again, being too paranoid about it being perfect. Something though that's speckled, I'll put it in, move it around a bit, and then I don't really mind if it's a bit of variation in it, because this one here is literally, the under dye is all one colour, and then it's just layers and layers of speckles, and I wanted it to be variation, so it doesn't, you know, like, you've just kind of got to change with what it is you're wanting to get out of it. Yeah, so I hope that sort of explains a little bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of it too is like, if someone tells you can't put yellow and purple together in the dye pans, for example, like, go for it, see what happens. Sometimes it works out really good, sometimes it doesn't. But if it doesn't, you can always over dye it in something like this, and no one's going to know, or there's going to be the very most subtle colours underneath, and then they'll be unique. So, you know, I'm very much a believer in experiment, go for it, and if it's a failure, it's not even a failure. You know what I mean? Like, it's you've learned something.
It didn't come out like you
expected. You've learned something new, and maybe you've come up with some really weird new combination that, you know, like, just go for it.
Yeah, the next viral colour.
Yeah. But yeah, I find too, like, I do have another dark blue colour. It's a different blue. And I put speckles over that. But you don't really see them as speckles. You just see it as a really shift of colour. So I think, yeah, just play with it and see what happens.
That's where the magic is.
It is, yeah.
Well, while we're talking about colours and different techniques, do you have, I know you mentioned Hue Loco before. Do you have any other dyers that you look?
I
like or get inspiration from?
I follow quite a few dyers on the Instagram, as one does. And we've got a little West Australian group too that we have a little secret chat group that we keep on top of things and help each other out.
Yes.
But not so local is Marie from Obsession Yarns.
Love Marie. Hi, Marie.
She's inspiring. Yeah,
she is.
So weirdly, someone again I've never bought yarn from, but we have chats and have a talk, and we, she's just lovely vibes, and her work is so beautiful. Like, it's just gorgeous. I just find, I'm going to be, I find now that when I look at other people's yarn, like, I want to buy it, but at the same time I'm like, I have my own yarn business, and this probably sounds really silly, but it's kind of at the same time, it's like, I have my own yarn business. I'm not endlessly supplied with money. I can't buy all the things, but I will share their photos too. So I'll, like, their yarn's beautiful, but unfortunately I can't.
Well, that's a way
it's a financial
to help
thing. Yeah,
too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just getting the word out. I love Marie's colors, and she also stocks some of my favorite knitting needles, Lantern Moon.
I haven't tried those ones.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I need more knitting needles, of course.
Who doesn't?
I have a few things stashed away with knitting needles on them, so obviously I need more needles because...
More projects.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
It does, doesn't it?
And
It's a very economical solution, Terina. Just buy more needles.
Buy more needles. You can knit more yarn.
I can knit more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I can call it a business promotion expense and it's fine.
Perfect.
I got my sister into knitting now too. So
fantastic.
yeah.
So is knitting your craft of choice?
Yeah. I have crocheted so far one thing.
Yes.
And that was...
Have you finished there or not?
No.
Oh, this is the rentic man out the front.
He's going to start playing the reticulation.
Where he's going to turn this and turn it on.
Oh my God.
We better move. That has to stay in because that's hilarious.
Are you going to move or...
We will in just a second.
Oh dear. We're just going to relocate a moment so the reticulation
Doesn't come on.
work can commence and we won't get soaking wet.
Well, we had a mum's table over there. That's a great big spot. How funny.
All right, and we're back. And we're not wet.
Survived.
Anyway, all right, where were we? We were talking about knitting and
Craft of choice, yeah.
yeah. So you're saying you have
I
crocheted.
have crocheted one thing. I remember my gran trying to teach me and it just wouldn't connect. Like I understood 2 needles and I just couldn't, it just...
I don't know. I can't pick up like I get it. I can single chain, right? And I can crochet a steek edge. But I just can't get the, I don't know, connecting it and...
Yeah. I had a look at... Oh, I think it's Cherry Heart Designs. Is it Sandra? She's a crochet designer. I have to look. And she had a whole lot of little tutorials.
Oh.
And it was the Ziggy Interrupted. That's the name of the... yeah, I did that. And it starts off, my little... hexagons are all very tight and then my later ones at the end of it are a little bit loose, but I'm like, it was a learning experience. I love it. It's really beautiful.
And they have so many designs right now that are like half crochet, half knit. I feel...
Yeah, even Mr. Westnitz. Stephen West last year's
oh yeah.
Yeah, MKL. He ended up with a crochet.
I've seen
Those
some
are
beautiful crochet center pieces of that. I think it's Contrast Blast.
Yeah.
It makes me want to learn, but there's just so many things that I want to knit.
Yeah. And then I have actually signed myself up for a course, which I haven't started doing, even though it started. Sorry, Sue. She, the Mercery is her name on Instagram. She does this, she has these amazing big pieces. She does them as online sort of tutorial courses that you can sort of look into and start joining. So I've signed myself up for the homage to the Granny Square. It's a great big blanket.
Oh.
But the one that really caught my eye, and I was like, I messaged her and I was like, should I start this? I'm a beginner. And she's like, no. Which I appreciate. Like, no, don't throw me in the deep end. Like, I'm adventurous.
Yeah.
I like learning things, but don't throw me in the deep end. She's got one at the moment that she's just finished the first course of that. So her first group was probably sort of like your test knitters almost, to making sure you work it.
Yes.
Tessellation Nation is the name of that particular, and it is amazing. Amazing. So hopefully I just need more hours in the day.
Yes.
I need a couple more arms.
Maybe a few more fingers.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
retentioning.
So yeah, it's pretty good because like I'd start dyeing stuff, and while things are setting and that before I put it into the oven, I can sit down and I can knit, you know. So I really multitask that, and I can tell myself, no, this is all very much business related, you know.
Of course it is. Knitting samples.
Yes. and it's fantastic, but there's still not enough hours in the day to also do the crochet project.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that's on my, I want to very much. Yeah. So,
And we've talked a little bit today about Amber O'Brien and Stephen West being some of your favorite designers. Why? Why do you like them so much?
oh, Amber is first off good vibes. Like, she's just lovely.
Yeah.
Like, so that helps too for a start. And I think the fact that her designs, you can knit them in something neutral. I should make Mum show some of her things later on, because I've got a beautiful neutral from This or That collection that she had, her mystery knit along.
Yes.
And that's done I did it in beautiful neutral soft pinks and and then I did my version in neon and a dark green and the same creamy colour. It's one for my mum's, and both of them are fabulous. Like, you can oomph it up as much as you want or keep it, and the designs are going to work.
Yeah.
They're going to work.
Yeah.
So, and Stephen West I love because it's all playful and mad. You know what I mean? Like, it's just go for it. Like, if you want to use 16 billion colours, he's happy for you to try and work that into your project. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and it's going to work. You know, and again, I've seen beautiful people doing beautiful neutral with just one little tiny highlight colour in it, and it'll be amazing. You know?
I've got a neutral palette for the MCAL this year.
Oh, have you? I haven't picked what I'm going to do yet, and it's driving me insane because, like,
it was a big choice.
Yeah.
And there are multiple people involved.
There
goes
the
the
ridiculous. We would have been so.
Anyway. There are multiple people involved in helping this.
Yeah, helping you work it out. Yeah.
Of it. Thank you. You know who you are. And because I think for an MCAL or any kind of MCAL, right? If you really love your colors,
It'll work.
It'll work, and you will stick with it regardless of how it might challenge you.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's been a few that I've started and I haven't finished because I didn't like what my colour selection was.
Yeah.
So they're part way down and I've gone, it's not working out how I wanted it. And for me, I've discovered if I'm knitting it all into solid colours, I tend to get a bit bored. I like that new speckle pops up and I've got, you know, that little bit of a oomph happening, you know?
That's so funny because one of my yarns is a solid and one is a speckle.
Yeah, I've thought to myself,
that.
I have to have a speckle in that. Like, that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Because I did start one, terrible sometimes. I did start one where it was these beautiful pastels. And it's lovely, and I've gotten to the border for that casting off, and I'm almost done, and I've packed it away, and it's been packed away for a couple of years now, because I just, so you have to love the, hopefully I'll get it finished someplace.
We've all got
we've all got this little secret
lingering
whips.
Yeah.
I don't think you're a knitter if you haven't got a lingering whip, at least one stashed away somewhere where you're going, oh, I'm not sure.
That naughty corner whip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so where can viewers find you?
Instagram is my main place. So Terina Knits on Instagram. My Etsy, Love and Speckles. And on Ravelry, if you want to message me on there, I'm also Terina Knits. So
Ravelry.
Which I also hang out in Amber's board. There are lots. So if you're wondering where I am, that's where I'm hanging out most of the time. Yeah. So that's my little places. Yeah.
Okay, and then because it's Perfect Pairings, we always ask our guests what is your drink of choice when you craft?
My waters, always. Yeah. I don't.
We can cheers to
We
water.
can cheers to water. Yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I don't tend to drink fizzy drinks too much. Although if I am going to go fizzy drink, it's the Bundaberg, which is a company here that brews drinks, but they're not alcoholic. They do a ginger beer, which is lovely. But the one that I really love...
I know exactly what you're going to say. I totally know it. Can I guess?
Can you have a guess?
It's the Christmas one.
No! I've a curveball.
Okay.
The guava.
I have not seen
They
the
do
guava.
in Coles and in Woolworths. They do a little 4-pack of different flavors. They do a blood orange one in a mini can, which is
Ooh.
amazing.
I
They
would
do
like
a
that one.
passion fruit one in the 4-pack, and the blood orange. There's another one. I'm thinking lime and coconut for some reason, and I'm pretty sure I've drunk that.
With ginger. With
It's
the
not.
ginger.
It's not. It's done by the same company, but it's
it's
not
just a different flavor.
It's just different flavor. Yeah.
Heard it here first. Well, maybe you've already seen it at Coles, unlike me.
But yeah, guava is just. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a little bit sweet without being too sweet, and then you've got that guava flavor, which is just
Yeah.
yum. Yeah. So.
Fantastic.
And it's a beautiful pink colour too.
Oh,
But yeah.
next color inspiration.
Next colour inspiration.
Bundaberg guava.
Bundaberg guava. Yeah, but that's yeah, I'm not a big fizzy drinker or teas and coffees even. No, so yeah, water almost all the time. I know.
That's all right.
It's weird,
You
isn't
can. It means you can
keep hydrated. And
keep
be
hydrated
healthy.
and not worry about making mistakes in your lace chart.
Oh yeah. No, alcohol and I found out when I was legal but still quite young, I discovered that wasn't a combination for me at all.
Yeah.
So one drink wonder. So it's the idea of knitting lace. Well, in that sort of state.
After a few.
Oh no, see, it's not even a few. It's literally a drink for me, and I'm not in a good place.
Put the
I'm-
lace project away,
Put
grab
a-
the garter.
Go lie down. It's not happening. Oh, funny.
Oh, well, Terina, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and chatting.
Yeah, no, this has been really good.
It's good fun.
And
Yeah.
I'm super energized now about colors and I don't know, you've got
A
a
lace
really
sweater.
amazing vibe.
Thank
if
you.
I can say that, I feel like really energized after being
that's
with you.
awesome.
So
Thank you so
I hope
much.
That, I hope you do too. And
Despite my terror of cameras.
aw, you did fantastic.
Just pretending you're not there. No one's there looking. It's fine.
Hello, world. Well, if you've liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like more yarny content like this, subscribe so you'll receive notifications of when new episodes come up. It doesn't cost anything, but it helps the channel get more exposure with the YouTube algorithms that are becoming increasingly more difficult
algorithms
to-
everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us, and happy knitting.
Bye.